Morning. Welcome to the Board of Directors meeting, October 16th. Laura, may I have a call to order, please?
Sure. Director Arnold, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Director Gilbert,
Here.
Director Keenan,
Present.
Director McBride,
Present.
Alderwoman Sonia,
Present.
Director Spencer,
Present.
Director Young,
Present.
and Chair Halls.
Here. Thank you. For short of business, can I have approval of the minutes, or may I have a motion for the approval of the minutes, September 18th, 2025, our regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Director Gilbert.
Aye.
Director Keenan.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia.
Aye.
Director Spencer.
Aye.
Director Young,
Aye.
and Chair Halls.
Aye. Okay. Resolution 25 SLDC 1041. Requesting approval for authorizing the executive director of SLDC to allocate up to 4 million of new market tax credits for the H&H metal fabrication project. Bill?
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So before I launch into the resolution for H&H, I would like to give a little bit of concerning news about the CDFI fund. And maybe some of you heard that OMB last Friday virtually shuttered the fund, shut them down. 1,400 employees are expected to be fired. I think on December 13th is their last day, but of course there's a shutdown now, so nobody's working. There are some strong forces trying to change that decision. And apparently a federal judge yesterday ruled that it's illegal to do that, and there's a temporary injunction in place. But as it stands, the CDFI fund may go away, and that function of new markets, as well as the other programs. I think they run 6 other programs that provide capital all across the country to red states, blue states, cities, rural areas, you name it. Those programs may end up in different entities within the federal government if they survive at all. Now, new markets was made permanent earlier this year, and statutorily, we think it will still exist. So there's some positive news that somehow we come out of this unscathed, but the announcement for 10 billion in allocation is on hold right now. And we would love to have some of that allocation because we have a lot of projects to do. But not to detract from our project today, I want to shine a little bit of light on H&H Metals. But you might be asking why 4 million when typically it's 5 million and up for projects that we do. The CDFI fund has tasked us with doing a loan fund, small quickies, by the end of this year. That's $10 million. And typically we work with, area banks and Advantage Capital and others, but we've had difficulty putting that together. So in order to make small quickies, which is a small loan of under 4 million and less than 60 months, we're now just going to do one-off deals, not in a fund, but just close them on their own, providing some working capital and money for equipment purchases. And that's the case here with H&H Metals. So we'll have several other deals that come forward by the end of the year that are smaller in nature, but still provide needed capital for these businesses. And H&H is a manufacturer, as are the others I think we intend to bring forward. The great news is we have an investor that's willing to participate in smaller deals, Dudley Ventures, and they're based in, I think it's in Scottsdale, but the bank that they affiliate with is Valley Bank out of New York, and they have given much better pricing than we've seen in the market. We're getting 79 cents as opposed to 75 cents. So that makes a big difference on these smaller deals. And this particular investor, and I think it's true in the industry, they don't have concerns about the shutdown. The websites are open at CDFI. that we use, for the official recording deals we're doing. So we're not going to take the foot off the gas at all. We need to close deals, and we'll bring more deals to you as, the year goes out. But unless we hear worse news and we're told to, pencils down. But for now, it's all systems are go. So in that regard, let's talk a little bit about H&H. And I know Kevin Farrell is here with us, and he's the CFO of the business. He and his wife bought H&H 6 years ago. The business is located on 22nd Street, just a little bit north of Lafayette Square, just a couple of blocks from Shoto in the industrial zone there. They're in a 46,000 square foot building, and they have, taken over a business that was sort of treading water, and they've, invigorated it. They've bought new equipment, and they've really started to turn it around, and now they're in a growth mode. I think they're getting some SBA money. They've gotten some LDC money, and they're looking to purchase a parcel across the street from them as well, in a 1 acre parcel where they can build a building and, take on some new clients and just expand their business operations. Kevin is not new to manufacturing. He ran St. Louis Steel Products for 11 years. And so he is quite experienced at the helm, but he and his wife, and there's another partner here who's the chief operating officer, who have been doing a great job there. And it's an exciting business, and we're happy to be, participating in helping manufacturers grow, particularly in the city here. So Kevin Farrell, can you provide any more color than I just gave?
Sure, Bill. Thank you for the introduction. And again, to the LDC helped us out this spring when we really faced a cash shortage. And that combined with some excellent sales results this year have put us in a position of the growth that Bill talked about. We stayed open during the pandemic every day. It arrived 8 months after we bought the business. Morgan Jarrett, who's with me, and as Bill mentioned, is our chief operating officer, and I and Carolyn powered through the pandemic. We depleted all of our cash during that time, and we've been slowly rebuilding it. But we were able to buy equipment using leases during that time. And as a result of that, we're in a position today to bring on new customers in new areas. Traditionally, we have made portable industrial building components for Emerson and custom electrical enclosures. We've expanded that now with this new equipment to reach out into the communications sector and the data center space. So this Quilicky that Bill described will reimburse us for a lot of the investment that we've made and using precious cash. And so we've rebuilt our cash reserves to an extent, and it allows us to not only plan to buy the building that we're in from the sellers, but also the land across the street, eventually a building on that. We're adding a new 3D drafter next week. We have plans to hire our first outside salesperson next month. So it's a good time for us at H&H. But we're very grateful for your help. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No?
I guess I can jump in and just maybe a little bit more detail on this investment. This is to purchase the additional lot, but not finance the new construction, and the new market tax credits are really important in this particular situation because you're still a growing business and you're still building up building up your income and looking at expansion, and this is probably the best tool to help you get there. Can you confirm that for me?
Yeah. Sure. So this, we're new to New Markets tax credits. Bill has taught us a lot, along with the other folks. This is a little different than maybe some that you've looked at in the past, in that it is designed to repay the investors, the owners of H&H for past expenses. So it's all of the equipment that we have been purchasing. We bought $2 million worth of equipment, so this is a big help in helping us recover from that previous expense. We may be coming back to you at some point in the future for a forward-looking New Market tax credits deal for building and equipment, but this is reimbursement dollars. And I would just say one more thing. When your LDC advanced the 5-year $150,000 working capital loan in February, we were really underwater with our payables and receivables. We had payables of almost $200,000 and receivables of about $100,000. Today, our receivables are over 200,000 and our payables are down to 75,000. So the combination of that really timely loan and $550,000 year to date in operating profit have allowed us to really strengthen our balance sheet and think about growth.
I think, Sean, we can say that this is, a refinance for cash flow savings, and this will help the business get to the next level. And they've got a glide path towards that with a customer base, but they need more space in order to make those moves. So I think they're on the right trajectory here.
This looks like a great example of how we can all work together to grow businesses, grow jobs, and increase our capacity in St. Louis City. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Can we please have a motion to approve resolution 24 SLDC 1041?
So move. Second.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Director Gilbert.
Aye.
Director Keenan.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia.
Aye.
Director Spencer.
Aye.
Director Young.
Aye.
And Chair Halls.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, resolution 25 SLDC 1042, authorizing the execution of agreements with legal services of Eastern Missouri and the Land Clearance Redevelopment Authority of the City of St. Louis for legal advocacy programs to prevent and reduce vacancy and property abandonment in the City of St. Louis. I believe Stephanie will be presenting.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy, Otis, and members of the board. Thanks for having me here this morning to present this funding resolution for legal services of Missouri. As you know, SLDC has made an unprecedented investment in communities across St. Louis to advance 3 strategic pillars: economic empowerment, equitable and inclusive development, and neighborhood transformation. Through this 3rd pillar, SLDC undertakes activities and programs that advance occupancy and environmental justice, including maintaining and cleaning up environmental conditions, clearing unoccupied lots for strategic redevelopment, and empowering neighborhood-based organizations to return unoccupied properties to the tax rolls. SLDC also works closely with the St. Louis Vacancy Collaborative to advocate for vacancy work in the City of St. Louis. In April, you authorized us to issue an RFP for legal advocacy programs to mitigate property vacancy and support neighborhood stabilization. Through that RFP process, led by Laura Ginn, Legal Services of Eastern Missouri responded. After forming an internal selection committee to review the proposal, SLDC found that their advocacy services were consistent with and would support SLDC in achieving its policy goals. SLDC staff recommended selecting legal services. Special thanks to Laura for leading this effort. Today, we're excited to request approval to execute an agreement in the amount of $125,000 among SLDC, Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, and the Land Clearance Redevelopment Authority of the City of St. Louis for legal advocacy programs to prevent and reduce vacancy and property abandonment. If approved, the contract would run from January 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2026, and would support one staff attorney position in Legal Services Neighborhood Advocacy Unit, which combats property vacancy and abandonment through legal intervention, legal services, education, advocacy, and policymaking. The full scope of the engagement is detailed in Exhibit A to the resolution. I wanted to take one quick minute to recognize Charlie Hahn and Chris McGuire from our finance team, plus Rob Orr from our real estate development team for making funds available for this effort. Funding for the agreement will flow through LCRA, which is a statutory entity that undertakes development efforts to remediate blighted areas in the city. Property vacancy, unsustainable homeownership, and destabilized neighborhoods all contribute to blight. So thank you so much for your persistence and creativity. Laura from SLDC and Peter Hoffman of Legal Services are both here today to support the resolution. Peter, thanks so much for all you do for the city. As one of your biggest fans recently told me, using lawsuits to pressure absentee owners of vacant properties is the most important service SLDC can support to help create long-term solutions for nuisance and abandoned properties. So we're just really grateful for the service that you provide for all of us. With that, I'll pause. Laura and Peter are both on the phone, so I'm not sure if either of you had anything you wanted to add before I open it back up to the board for questions. Laura, Peter?
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, members of the board, SLDC staff, Otis Williams, the city of St. Louis more generally. Our program has been around since 2018, and the city of St. Louis and SLDC in particular have been founding and sustaining partners for our neighborhood advocacy program. That early investment made it possible for us to show that these legal tools used strategically in partnership with neighborhood leaders can remove barriers to reinvestment and accelerate the return of vacant property to productive use. This continued partnership, as Stephanie alluded to, will allow us to fund a full-time staff attorney exclusively serving St. Louis City neighborhoods, ensuring that our proven high-impact model continues to strengthen the city's housing and community development ecosystem. On behalf of our team, I just want to express our deep appreciation for Otis, to his staff, to the SLDC, to the city of St. Louis, for their leadership and commitment to neighborhood revitalization, and we look forward to this continued partnership.
Everyone has said all the things, so I just want to again offer my support, and especially because this proposal came in at a very inopportune timing. We got pretty waylaid, of course, by the tornado, and so I'm just really thankful that everyone's got it up on back on board, and we're moving forward with this effort. Peter's team has definitely been the leading anchors in returning vacant properties to productive use. Their numbers outperform even regular purchase or LRA rehabs. It's been really impactful. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Laura and Peter and Nancy. Those are the end of our comments.
Well, I can't miss this opportunity to say how important legal services has been to all of our efforts and redevelopment here in the city. And so anybody who's listened to me in the last month, I've been talking about funding legal services. And when I say that, I'm looking to include the city in the budgeting process, in the sense of we need to realize the need and budget it within the city's budget framework, as opposed to depending on SLDC to always have the monies to make this happen. We just happen to be able to do it now, but I'm just looking out for the future. And so we just need to, we may not have those funds in the future.
Well, I don't want to miss the opportunity also to publicly just ditto everything that Ms. Gracie said, as well as Director Williams said. From the position that I've been in, that special thanks that she gave to Laura again is not enough. The work that Peter Hoffman does is immeasurable. from his accessibility, his responsiveness, his team, their patience, their cadence with community, which is a delicate dance, especially when you're dealing with the frustration of vacancy. I've seen it work. I continue to see it work. He was just in a church basement a few weeks ago with me in the 10th ward, working with constituents, because one of the things we're dealing with as we rebuild and recover from the tornado is a lot of air properties, and the titling and the deeds are not clean, and just the work that they do, again, is immeasurable. So I wanna, listen, they know I never miss an opportunity to thank either one of them anywhere I am. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Laura. And I echo what Otis said. This proactive work that they do would save us. It would save us on so many different levels in these underserved and in some of these neighborhoods. So thank you again. And whenever you need a cheerleader for that request that you have in the city, you call me.
Good.
I just have one question. Peter, could you maybe talk a little bit about the numbers just for the record on how many properties you've impacted, maybe the return on the investment and the fiscal benefit to our city?
Sure. So as I mentioned, SLDC was the first funder of our program when I actually moved back from Kansas City to start it in 2018. Since then, we've grown. We now have, well, at one point we had 6 attorneys. We're down to 4, but hopefully these funds leveraged with other investment will allow us to rehire, to move back to 6 attorneys and 3 paralegals. But since 2018, we've opened more than 700 cases in the city of St. Louis. That's led to the revitalization of more than 727 formerly vacant units of housing. That 727 units has attracted $10.7 million in private investment from looking at building permits pulled for those units. And we've generated $2.7 million in new property tax payments for formerly abandoned properties. In the same time, that 700 plus cases also includes representing more than 500 low-income and senior homeowners to preserve $18.4 million in home equity through estate planning, title clearance, and foreclosure prevention. And so by my math, each dollar that SLDC has supported neighborhood advocacy has resulted in an $82 return for private investment or preserved equity in the city of St. Louis. So I think our services more than pay for ourselves. I think we present a good return on investment if you think of funding legal aid in that context. So that's just an overview, and I'm happy to go into more details about any of the cases we handle or what our priorities are or how many we anticipate these funds will help provide support for in the future.
Thank you.
I see Alderwoman Sonia has a hand up there.
Thank you. I first want to start by echoing all of the congrats and kudos and thank yous to Legal Eastern Services Missouri. You guys do amazing work, and I have many times been grateful for it. And of course, because of recent events, have seen it more. This might be a question a little bit more for President Williams or as opposed to Mr. Hoffman. I'm not sure, but I know one of the things that has been talked about quite a bit is just how large the recent tax sale is that we had in the city of St. Louis. Obviously, that's through the sheriff's office and through the collector of revenues office. But once any properties that are not sold end up getting acquired by LRA, and I know that it was brought to me by a few state representatives and some others that a huge portion of that list involved homes that were in the tornado impacted areas, and concerns that a lot of those residents that are on that tax list were impacted by the tornado. And I'm just wondering, have there been any conversations about any work there or any thinkings along those lines as far as supporting, obviously, once they become LRA property, they're not homeowners, but just curious about any conversation that is happening there, any opportunities for partnerships in that area.
Well, we are always looking for partnerships, but just by the way that we end up with these properties, for the most part, they have been abandoned pretty much for at least 3 to 4 years before they're even considered for a tax sale, and then about a year through the court process before we get it. So it's generally between 4 to 5 years before we get it. So it not so much the people, well, in most cases, I won't say it's not in all cases, but in most cases, they are pretty much vacant properties and have been vacant for the last 2 to 3 years, just because of the condition of those that come to us in the inventory. But if there are those out there that were impacted and was just delinquent and the tornado just compounded their problems, we were more than welcome the opportunity to work with them. So I am not aware of that situation being present yet, but I will canvass the staff just to make sure we don't know of that situation. And if you know of any or a person that can help us with that, we will be happy to reach out and figure out how we can work with that.
Thank you. I would love to definitely connect you with maybe some of the state representatives and individuals who reached out to me. I don't directly represent those communities, so I've just had some folks forward the list to me and just kind of show, hey, did you see like most of these homes are in this area? But I would love to just get a connection there to see if there's any opportunities there or any greater concerns.
Yeah, I would. So I'm thinking that it's probably State Rep. Kimberly Ann.
Yes, and also Lakeisha Bosley.
Okay.
Both of them have reached out.
Right. So I have.
Could I add a little something there? I didn't include this in our summary of casework that I presented, but our office has also supported a number of legislative and policy solutions to vacancy and vacancy prevention in the city of St. Louis. And one of those has been the creation of the Real Estate Tax Assistance Fund, also known as RETAF. The city of St. Louis is really unique in that it funds an emergency relief fund to prevent the foreclosure sale of people's homes. We work closely with Park Central Community Development every year on that list. So since 2020, it started as a pandemic program, but it has saved hundreds of homes from foreclosure each year. This year in particular, we all took great effort to make sure that people who were impacted by the tornado were aware of relief funds, that we did proactive outreach to those homes, that we did a deep dive into all properties that were affected and included in the upcoming sale. And I think we've had a good amount of success reaching those homeowners to make sure that anybody's home who was occupied prior to the tornado was not foreclosed for delinquent taxes. So I think not just to boast our own work in this area, doing that policy work, but I think we've developed some other tools now that the city can continue to use to help alleviate those concerns, protect existing residents from foreclosure, and contribute to additional vacancies.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. I'm very familiar with that program. As you know, I've had a chance to talk to you all. I'm hoping me and Alderwoman Shamim Clark-Hubbard have been in talks about you coming in front of the HUD's committee. And we also got a presentation where it was actually suggested that we might want to think about just more ways to fund the RETAP program on a more consistent basis. So I'm absolutely supportive of that conversation and have definitely heard from you all and folks at Park Central just obviously the need for additional funding because the need has always been there in our city, but it's obviously so much more vast right now, and some concerns from folks that are part of the RETAP coalition. Just that there's a strong need for more resources to really be able to adequately serve communities in that regard.
I could just add a quick note for some context here so everyone is aware, because I've heard this question come up a few times, is that normally we have 5 tax sales in a year. And this year they were all rolled into one. And so it does look very jarring and overwhelming to see all 5 happening at one time. And that's, another carryover of the tornado impact. But I'll just emphasize again what Peter said of that direct outreach of trying to find every owner occupied home and make sure they were aware of that RETAF program. Thanks.
Thank you both. That's very helpful, and we are recommitted to doing whatever we can. And so with, Laura, Peter's help and the folks at, LRA and others, we will do what we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. May I please have a motion to approve resolution 25 SLDC 1042?
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Kane,
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia,
Aye.
Director Spencer,
Abstain.
Director Young,
Aye.
and Chair Halls.
Aye. Thank you, Laura. Next is resolution 25 SLDC 1043. Requesting authorization for an RFP for HR and payroll management services. Lisa?
Good morning. I would like to stand. My chair is sinking. So good morning, Chairman Hall, Board of Directors, and Mr. Williams. Today I am here to present Resolution 25 SLDC 1043. This resolution will authorize St. Louis Development Corporation to procure procure a request for proposal. For clarity, the HRMS is a software suite that helps companies digitalize, automate, and centralize HR functions like payroll, time and attendance, recruitment, benefits, and performance management. It reduces administrative tasks, provides valuable workforce insights, and offers self-service options for employees and managers. This decision to move the new vendor is crucial to ensure that the processes remain reliable and efficient. I have looked into more sophisticated systems, and so I know there is software out there that could meet our capacity. As you know, SLDC has expanded as well as hired over possibly 50 employees in the last 2 to 3 years. And so to accommodate our employees and provide efficiency and less unease in the organization, I am requesting to put an RFP out to procure software for our payroll as well as our HMRS systems. So I'll yield there if you have any questions.
Thank you.
How
Anybody?
questions? Yes. How long have you had this Paycom system? So, well over 10 years. And their expansions and their support when they, put in new, functionality has been unsatisfactory. Unsatisfactory. We have activated new components. So, the more we activate those components, we're seeing malfunctions and, discrepancies in payroll as well as in HR. Thank you.
Yeah, Director McBride has a question.
Yes, thank you. And who uses the software?
So there's several of us that use the software, payroll, our finance department for reports, HR, for our performance reviews, of course, the payroll. We also activated new components for learning and development. The performance review is basically component is sitting idle because there were many discrepancies where it locked employees out, managers out in completing the performance reviews. And so, and then recently with the PTO changes, it actually gave employees more PTO or decreased some of their hours automatically. The system did that. And so, that's why we're, trying to figure out what can we do to kind of build capacity for, because we built the system out more robustly over the years, but trying to accommodate the new things that we're doing and implementing, such as performance reviews, digitalize. The benefits administration is now digitalized with into the Paycom system. And so to kind of ease to help with the unease in the organization with employees, seeing their numbers change in PTO, we definitely need to do something, so that they can be, satisfied with what, we're doing in HR as well as in payroll.
Sounds like that affects a lot of the staff. And who trains the staff on this software?
So the Paycom system actually has a learning university, what's called a Paycom University in the system where employees could use employee self-service to do trainings. We also can assign trainings through the system. But nonetheless, those trainings is not the issue. It's the actual glitches and discrepancies that we're experiencing automatically when the system's changing things that we don't know.
Sure, sure. Is there anything addressing training in the proposed RFP?
So the RFP is not completed. That is something that we're gonna sit down collectively and discuss. What are we needing? How this transition will look, and how we want the build out to customize SLDC.
Yeah, if we get a new provider, I think it'd be appropriate to have training and onboarding included in that RFP. If we could make sure we add that in there, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question also regarding the RFP, and that is, I'm assuming this is for HR services, sort of global HR, in addition to the training, but also potentially defense. Is there defense built into this? In other words, this company, would we expect this company to pick up the cost and otherwise indemnify SLDC? You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of these companies, that's baked into what they do, and I think that would be advantageous. Is that something, James, we could put in the RFP?
Yeah, as a general practice, we require indemnity and insurance provisions sufficient to meet the level of risk associated with each contract. And we'll make sure that those provisions are included in the RFP, so proposers understand the requirements when we get to the contracting stage.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, which program or software does the city use, and is that a consideration when you?
That was something that I definitely want to check into to see what the city uses. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, may I please have a motion to approve resolution 25 SLDC 1043?
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Director Gilbert.
Aye.
Director Koenig.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia.
Aye.
Director Spencer.
Aye.
Director Young.
Aye.
And Chair Halls.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we are, pardon? Executive session. I think we need a motion. I don't have I'm sorry. Motion to open session and enter executive session pursuant to section 610.021 subsection 1 RSMO.
So moved, McBride.
Also, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Director McBride, I'm gonna also reference section 610.021 subsection 2, subsections 12 and subsections 13 regarding our executive session. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Director Gilbert.
Aye.
Director Koenig.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia,
Aye.
Director Spencer,
Aye.
Director Young,
Aye.
and Chair Halls.
Aye. All right. Returning to the open agenda, I'd like to first have a roll call.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Here. Director Gilbert,
Here.
Director Koenig,
Present.
Director McBride.
Present.
Sorry, one more time, Director McBride.
Present.
There we go. Alderwoman Sonia,
Present.
Director Spencer,
Present.
Director Young,
Is.
Director Young,
Is he on mute?
No, he's not on me.
Can I still in the other call? Yeah, I'll come back to him. And Chair Halls.
Present. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Before we move into the director's report, I'd like to mention that Resolution 25 SLDC 1044, which was originally on the agenda, the public agenda that is, has been removed and was not taken up at this meeting. Okay, thank you. Otis?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and board members. Would just like to announce in the public setting here in open session that the board has approved the staff to enter into an engagement with Executive Bridge as a search firm for the president and CEO position of St. Louis Development Corporation. Staff will prepare legal agreements and enter that relationship very soon and kick off the search. And we're working with the board to make all that happen, hopefully. In the next soon. All right. Next item on the agenda is actually an update about the state audit. And this is something probably the board has been reading and the news or just hearing in the news. And so what I'm going to do is turn it over to James, who's going to give a quick update on where we are.
Yeah, so it certainly has been out in the news that SLDC has been directed to work with the state auditor's office with their investigation into the Northside grant program. Just to let everyone on the board know, we're working with the state auditor's office. They've been here in person once already to give a overview of what to expect and kind of talk about the parameters of what the investigation will cover. And now we're working with them on document gathering process and responding to questions. So this is just the start of it. I don't know if we have a final timeline for when we will expect a report to be finalized, but we will certainly keep the board apprised as we go through it.
Just one comment, and is that we know that all of our processes have been reviewed and that we are in a good position. So the thing that I would say from an organization perspective, we welcome the review, and if there are any recommendations of improvements, we would definitely actively pursue them. So we're open. The next item on the agenda is really to talk about, I think, could I have a slide that speaks to development initiatives? I wanted to just review with the board things that we are working on. This is not in an all-inclusive list, but these are things that I'm talking about as I'm out in the public and briefing, speaking at different occasions. One of the key things is that I'm trying to make sure that we can improve the climate for doing business in the city. And so we have had the results of a number, well, at least one major survey that was commissioned by Power Grove, CDC. We also have feedback from other organizations about some difficulty of doing business within the city. And we know that based on the activity that we're not at a level where we should be. And so one of the goals here is to figure out how to make sure that we improve this climate. We took up an action today around the second bullet that I've been talking about, and that is support annual city funding for the legal services of Eastern Missouri. And so I think, to me, that's critical. The third bullet is establishing a criteria and annual funding for CDCs within the city. And we are having, I call it continuous discussion amongst key staff and others. We've included a few CDCs in some discussions. We've had some discussions hosted by the Federal Reserve around this topic. And so this is a very fundamental action, I think, that needs to happen within the city if we're going to make improvements throughout all neighborhoods in the city. One of the other things is we want to restart the one-stop or rapid permitting process within the city. And that was practiced some years ago where we would get all of the city departments that were required to permit a project. And this was primarily done with redevelopment projects, but we want to be able to look at all of the major things that need to have approval so that we can get these things done as opposed to inline review. We get everybody in the room at once, and if there are questions about plans, that those can be asked, and then we can in turn get that approval within hours or days. Want to try and establish a funding vehicle for housing and business development. And we appreciate, what we have with the local development company. But in some cases, we probably need a couple of other different alternatives that we can bring to the table with maybe different requirements or restrictions. One of the things we want to do is establish a business advisory committee so we can get that feedback directly from folk about issues that they're being confronted with in the city, as well as the developer advisory committee. We are trying to reestablish a good relationship with the St. Louis Public Schools Board. And to that degree, we have met with them a number of times thus far. With the real estate committee a couple of times and with the full board a couple of times. And the president of the Board of Aldermen has hosted a couple of meetings that we have worked with some members of the board and having discussions about things that we can work with them on to try and help particularly with the buildings that they have identified, or at least been having discussions about as far as being accessed. We want to be able to launch a citywide initiative to strengthen and activate priority commercial corridors. In addition to working within the neighborhoods, we want to work along those corridors. And I think the number one priority for us has been Martin Luther King. And because I know this board and previous discussions have been around trying to reinvigorate what those in the Ville call the cultural boulevard. And so we want to focus on that. I think we as an organization invested in the Monarch. We invested in Ozella Foster. We are looking at other opportunities along that corridor. We are trying to basically reestablish the old Western Loop, trolley building, stabilize it, and, hopefully, have it in a place where a developer could, work with us on. And so we're working with all of the organizations who have shown an interest along that corridor to try and help facilitate redevelopment. There's a huge interest along that area. We will be launching something called an STL Back in Business campaign. And I'll give you the details at the next meeting, but we realize that we've got to kickstart something that has momentum related to it and get people interested in doing business in the city. So we are working with the and with the planning department and with anybody who will talk to us about how we establish areas and boundaries to overlay with incentives, if you will, to facilitate getting developers interested in the tornado impacted area. And so in those discussions, we were just talking about really how to make sure that economic development has a real chance, particularly in North St. Louis. And some of the other parts of the city don't need quite as many things to happen for development to occur. But in North St. Louis, it needs help and incentives to be sure that we can help developers finance that particular redevelopment. So those are the I call them development initiatives. It grows as we encounter things. One that's not on there is that it is clear that we have to really look at our MNWBE processes. And this is in addition to getting a new ordinance. But there may be some ordinances that we already have on book that we need to consolidate. There may be the draft that we are reviewing. We may be identifying an opportunity, but the big tall stick in this stack is we need to make sure our staff is functioning appropriately so that we can have a robust program, but also have good feedback between the contracting community, developer community, and city. So we will be focused on that and working that because we get a lot of discussion and back and forth with everyone, and we want all of this to work. So we had originally scheduled for our staff to probably then follow me and give you an update, but we've had an extensive discussion, and what we will do is at our next meeting, we will let staff essentially brief you all on what I'm hoping to do is have each department come for you to sort of say what their top 2 or 3 things that they're working on. Do you have any questions?
This isn't a question, probably just more so a comment. Just wanted to voice that when this was presented to us in HUD, how supportive many of us were of a lot of these initiatives and thinking that these initiatives are, excellent, especially climate and CDC support and legal services Eastern Missouri, and this focus on the schools. I did just want to highlight, as I did in HUD's committee and as a lot of my colleagues spoke to as well, that there was some concern around the idea of STL back in business, and the question from several alders of caution us to be careful of our messaging and the narratives that we're sending. I know that I represent a lot of businesses who have been, certainly struggling and facing challenges, but have certainly been, not closed and have certainly been continuous working. And several of my other colleagues also voiced just concerns around that messaging. And I'm really not a fan of that wording. And I think some of my colleagues share that same concern as well. So I want to say that here on the record.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And we'll take a look at that wording.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, comments?
I have one comment that I'm just so excited to see that list.
I know.
I mean, we have some of the best incentives in St. Louis City and the state of Missouri that we should be attracting developers from across the country. And we've got to tell the story, we've got to educate, and we've got to bring people together. And it seems like that's what our plan is. So thank you.
It's an amazing list. I agree. Okay. A lot of work. Anybody else? All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. You want a motion? To adjourn. I'll move.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.